Hi, Saddleback.
Hi.
We're George and Tondra Gregory. We are from Journey for Life Marriage Ministry.
So, we're all dealing with the coronavirus. So, we thought it would be great to talk to you about surviving and thriving in quarantine.
Yes,
Ironically, couples are busier than they were before.
much busier.
Yes, and stress levels are higher with less boundaries involved. You have couples who are trying to do distance learning, both couples working from home, couples trying to take care of others. It's a difficult time that we're living in.
Yeah, we're so busy. Honestly, like I'm about to pull the rest of my hair out.
Yeah.
Here's what Scripture says in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 2 and 3. It says, with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, eager to maintain the unity of the Spirit and the bond of peace. And that scripture for us is so important because during these busier times, during these times where we're all in the house together, we have kids, if we have kids, we're a couple and we're all trying to thrive together, we got to remember and focus on that which bonds us together in that unity of peace. And so that's why that scripture talks about with all humility and gentleness, with patience. Remember, patience is a great thing to practice during this quarantine season.
And achieving that peace and patience is not an easy thing when you're day in and day out living on top of each other. So our number one point is that you have to give each other time to decompress.
That's a key.
That is
very
so key. Each one of you just need to take turns holding it down so the other one can take a much needed rest. And you can give it in blocks of time if you want, but just remember, for each other's well-being, we need to give each other that time to just step away and zone out some way.
Yeah, and as much as it's important that we step away, we also have to acknowledge that we need the time to step away. So sometimes you probably might get a little agitated during this season, or you might be on a higher alert, that you have to almost let them know before you get to your 10 level that, hey, I might need a break at my level 6. And that could be just going outside. It could be just taking a walk around the perimeter of the home. It could be just going to the bathroom to kind of steal away, or to your favorite reading area. Just take time to decompress. So we've got to remember that in this quarantine season, that doesn't mean that you can isolate from your spouse or your family. We call it social distancing, but yet you cannot. We're in the same house. There's no way we're going to stay 6 feet apart. I mean, we're just in each other's space all the time. And so although we're in the quarantine season and you can't social distance much, you do need to set boundaries, which that's our point number 2, is we have to all set boundaries.
Yes, so boundaries are important because previously, before the coronavirus and the quarantine, our boundaries were kind of set for us organically, but they've somehow gotten erased because now we're not doing those same routines that we were doing before.
Yeah, so we have to be careful because during a regular work week, we would leave home, and home would be on pause until we got back. But now everything is kind of blended, right? We can be working, our kids can interrupt us if we have kids, or the office could call when we're trying to have our quiet time. So unless we're intentional about setting boundaries, our whole day is going to be rather blurry.
Yes, so we have to set those specific start and end times to our workday. And then we have to set specific times that we're going to end school and start school. That is going to be very important. My son is home with us and he's working from home. And when his lines are blurred, 1 minute he's picking up the work phone call when he's feeling like he's supposed to be having dinner. Like, we have to be intentional about setting these boundaries.
Another point here is we have to set time aside for family time. Again, if work is calling you, with everybody is Zoom calling these days,
Yes.
or getting on video calls, but there has to be some point in your day, if you have kids, where you're saying, no, this hour or this 2-hour block is for us to go outside in the backyard, or maybe it's for us to do some instructional time, or maybe it's time for us to read our Bible together. Just set time aside as a family and value that. As we learn to sort of social distance from others, we cannot do that with our family.
That's so true. And even wanting to add to that is our couple time. We have to schedule our couple time.
Gotta have that couple
because
time.
you have to be even more intentional, because our relationship as a couple tends to be the thing that gets pushed off and pushed to the next week and pushed to the next week, and before you know it, you have gone weeks without sitting down and connecting as a couple. So the connection time is important, because during this crisis, we're going to be evolving as people. And if we're not evolving together and connecting together, then we're evolving, we're creating distance. So we want social distancing to end when the crisis is over. We don't want to be left with a distant gap between our relationship.
Sure. My mentor told me when I was just a young lad, newly married, he says, if you want the house hot at night, you have to start the fire in the morning. And that just for men, so sometimes we have to be a little bit more cognizant that be intentional about those couple times, meaning it's okay to put your kids in the bed early. Mm-hmm. That's right, I said it. It's okay to say time for the TV to go off, or the gaming station, or for you to put the books in the bed. Let you guys go and have a peaceful rest. And then all the while, that mom and dad want to spend a little quiet time with each other.
Yes, and I'd like to say, if you have older kids, that might not work, because we have older kids. They stay up later than us. But it's okay for your older kids. You can lock the door and say, we're having mom and dad time, or we're having couples time right now.
I think it was one songwriter said, close the door.
Yes. And George and I, one of the things that we've had in our marriage throughout the years is that a few times a week we will end our day a little early, enough to have what we call pillow talk. That means before you get tired, you're ending it a little early, you're just laying in the bed and you're just connecting and talking and catching up, and you're just bonding. And sometimes couples don't know what to talk about. On our website, journeyforlifenow.org, and you can look at the blog called 25 Questions Every Husband and Wife Shall Ask.
Yeah, that's a great blog, actually. So a part of that pillow talk is knowing the right questions to ask, right? Mm-hmm. And so we kind of give you a cheat sheet if you go to our blog and find that 25 questions blog to ask, because it's going to help with that pillow talk.
Yes. So what I'm really trying to say is carve out that couple's time. Whether if you're not a night person for pillow talk, get up early and have coffee talk in the morning. Just be intentional about your relationship during this time.
Number 3 is you've got to find your new rhythm. Let's face it, life's changing. There's going to be a new rhythm of learning, and we've got to embrace this sort of social distancing for all of our health's sake. So a part of this is not just embracing it, but learning to work together as a team. That's one thing that as LA Chargers chaplains is that we preach or teach all across wherever we go, whether it's football players or traveling the country, is you are a team. And in this moment of kind of social distancing, you've got to know that you're a team. So embrace this new season as a team. For instance, like sharing responsibilities for taking care of kids if you have kids. It's going to be an overwhelming task for one person to sort of take on the load of the kids, whether it's distant learning or playtime, things of that nature. In fact, I just want to challenge all of the husbands that if you're one who typically just delegates that to your wife during this season, try not to delegate to your wife as much, because she's going to need that time to sort of get a break in her rhythm and decompress, like we've already gone over.
Yes, it's very important, because now, again, there are a ton of household responsibilities now. I know I'm cooking way more, like I'm doing breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
And I'm eating a lot more.
And we're all eating a lot more. So things have changed. So we have to embrace that change and get with the new program. And that's what we would encourage you to do. And also be intentional about not assuming and having unspoken expectations. Because this is how a lot of conflicts, a lot of conflicts are brought on, because there's these unspoken expectations and there's a lot of assumptions being made. So I would say communicate more, increase your communication about what your needs are in this season.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Sometimes you might think, oh, he should know. Like he should just know that I'm overwhelmed and come get the kids. We don't. You've got to give us a cheat sheet. You've got to say, this is my expectation. Can you help me at 5? Or can you help me put them to bed or do something of that nature? Just mostly come out of your shell, learn the new rhythm, and communicate even more.
And point number 4 is show appreciation for each other. You have to go overboard during this time with your appreciation for one another. This is a difficult, hard season of our lives and globally. So we need to appreciate and value each other.
Yeah, what we mean by going overboard is, man, when you see your spouse doing something and you might know they're a little overwhelmed, you've got to show them that appreciation by stopping, by acknowledging and affirming and celebrating them, just telling them how important they are. And so wives, if your husband's taking out that trash, don't let it be his business as usual. Say, hey, sweetie, thank you, man. High fiving because we're on the same team. All of our roles during this season are just as important as those regular season, even at a more heightened time. That's why we say go overboard. It's like a lot of high fiving. Come on, give me a high five. It's a lot of high fiving. It's a lot of pointing, saying, man, thank you for that assist. Treat each other right now and go overboard in a great way.
And there shouldn't be a day that goes by in this quarantine that you don't have an encouraging word to say to each other.
Yeah.
And you should be affirming, and you should be grateful, and you should be thanking each other. This is a time where we are all hands on deck, and we can't do it without each other. So we need to appreciate each other, and we need to be patient and gracious to one another.
Right. So as you go about your day, take some key points from our talk. And remember that you are better together. You're on the same team. Remember these 4 easy, simple principles. And also, you can take time now to share it with some couples that you might know from your workplace or from your neighborhood. That's a way we can be together, but yet socially distant. Again, we're George and Tondra Gregory. Our marriage ministry is called Journey for Life Now. You can go to our website and find a lot of blogs, a lot of material like videos for encouragement at journeyforlifenow.org. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.